Unit 6. Time. Abrupt. Sudden and unexpected, often in an unpleasant way. Our friendship came to an abrupt end. Anachronism. Something that is no longer suitable for or relevant to modern times. She regards the marriage ceremony as a quaint anachronism. Annual. Happening once a year. We've got our annual conference next month. Annual. Calculated or considered over a period of 1 year. You'll receive an annual salary of €100, 000. Antique. Old and valuable. We offer a wide range of antique furniture. Antique. An old object such as a piece of furniture or jewelry that is valuable because it is rare, beautiful, or well made. The desk is an antique. Century. A period of 100 years, usually counted from a year ending in -00. For example, the 20th century is the period from 1900 to 1999. His family has ruled Morocco since the 17th century. Chronological. Arranged or described in the order in which events happened. The paintings are presented in chronological order. Contemporary. Modern or relating to the present time. I'm not very keen on contemporary art. Contemporary. Alive or existing at the same time as a particular event or person. Contemporary sources offer a very different interpretation. Contemporary. Someone alive at the same time as a particular event or person. Most of his contemporaries regarded him as a mere eccentric. Decade. A period of 10 years, especially one beginning with a year that ends in a zero, for example, 1990 to 1999. Prices have risen sharply in the last decade. Duration. The period of time during which something continues to happen or exist. The duration of the film is 110 minutes. Elapse. If time elapses, it passes. Another hour elapsed and still the wind continued to howl. Era. A period of time that has a particular quality or character. We are living in an era in which technology is developing very rapidly. Eternal. Continuing forever or for a very long time. She has earned our eternal gratitude. Expire. If an agreement, offer, or official document expires, the period of time during which it exists or can be used comes to an end. The loan offer is due to expire this week. Frequency. The number of times that something happens during a period of time. Changes in sea temperature will increase the frequency of hurricanes. Instantaneous. Immediate. Recently developed medical tests can give instantaneous results. Interim. Intended to last or perform an activity only until someone or something permanent or final is available. This is only an interim report. Interim. The time between one thing happening and another. Or while waiting for something permanent or final to become available. In the interim between John Smith dying and Tony Blair becoming leader, Margaret Beckett acted as leader of the Labour Party. Interval. A period of time between two events. The normal interval between our meetings is 6 weeks. Interval. A short break between the parts of something such as a play or concert. How long is the interval? Lapse. A short or temporary period when you fail or forget to do things in the right way. The man admitted driving over the speed limit and apologized for the lapse. Lapse. A period of time between two events. There was a lapse of 10 years between his visits. Lapse. To stop gradually or for a short time. At this point, the waiter came up with Maggie's drink and conversation lapsed. Lapse. If an official document, decision, or right lapses, it is no longer effective. The permit was extended for another year before being left to lapse. Lifetime. The period of time when someone is alive. He achieved a lot in a short lifetime. Lifetime. The length of time that something exists or works. There are plans to extend the lifetime of the power station. Long-standing. Having existed for a long time. There's a long-standing tradition in our family of giving presents on Christmas Eve. Millennium. A period of 1,000 years or the beginning of a period of 1,000 years. People celebrating the millennium filled the streets. Obsolete. No longer used because of being replaced by something newer and more effective. Most computer hardware rapidly becomes obsolete. Overdue. If something is overdue, it should have arrived /been done /been paid etc. before now. This change in attitude is long overdue. Period. An amount of time during which something happens. The long dry period ended with torrential rain. Permanent. Happening or existing for a long time or for all time in the future. She suffered permanent brain damage as a result of the accident. Phase. A particular period of time during the development of something. The war was about to enter its final phase. Postpone. To decide that something will not be done at the time when it was planned for, but at a later time. Our exam has been postponed until next Monday. Prior. Happening, existing, or done before a particular time. Illegally parked cars may be removed at any time without prior notice. Prompt. Immediate or quick. Prompt action is required. Prompt. Happening or arriving at exactly a particular time. The meeting got off to a prompt start at 10 o'clock. Provisional. Intended to be temporary. And likely to be changed when other arrangements are made. The provisional government lasted 3 months. Provisional. If an arrangement is provisional, the people involved have not yet said that they definitely want to do it. We've made a provisional reservation for next week. Punctual. Arriving or happening at the time agreed on. Mrs. Marsh liked her guests to be punctual. Seasonal. Available only during a particular time of year. The work was well paid but seasonal. Seasonal. Suitable or typical of the time of year it is now. We needed to find some seasonal music. Simultaneous. Happening or done at the same time. In simultaneous announcements, the two men resigned from their jobs. Span. The amount of time that something lasts. Nearly 100 witnesses testified over a span of 20 days. Span. To last for a particular period of time, especially a long period. His career spanned half a century. Spell. A period of time, usually a short one. I had a 2-week spell in hospital. Stint. A period of time spent doing something. He came to California after a brief stint as a waiter in New York. Subsequent. Happening or coming after something else. In subsequent interviews, Steele has contradicted his original story. Temporary. Existing, done or used for only a limited period of time. These measures are only temporary. Timely. Happening at the most suitable time. Thanks to the UN's timely intervention, a crisis was avoided. Vintage. Vintage wine is excellent in quality and was made several years ago. Let's get some vintage champagne. Vintage. A vintage object or vehicle is old, but kept in good condition because it is interesting or attractive. My father has a number of vintage motorcycles. Vintage. Showing the best or most typical qualities of someone. She turned in a vintage display of tennis to win the title. Vintage. All of the wine produced in a particular year, or the year it was produced. This year's vintage will be the best in many years. Vintage. The time when something was produced. He's got a collection of guns of all types and vintages. Work. Civil service. A country's government departments and the people who work in them. How long have you worked for the civil service? Client. Someone who pays for or uses the services of a professional person, such as a doctor or lawyer. She advises clients on their investments. Colleague. Someone who works in the same organization or department as you. Friends and colleagues will remember him with affection. Consultant. An expert or a professional person whose job is to give help and advice on a particular subject. She's a design consultant. Consultant. A senior doctor in a hospital who is an expert in a particular medical subject. She's a consultant cardiologist. Effective. Someone or something that is effective works well and produces the result that was intended. Humor is often far more effective than shouting. Efficient. Someone or something that is efficient works well and produces good results by using the available time, money, supplies, etc., in the most effective way. The new machine is far more efficient than the old one. Executive. A senior manager in a business or other organization. We've arranged a meeting with some of the company's top executives. Fire. To make someone leave their job, sometimes as a punishment. She was fired for refusing to comply with safety regulations. Headhunt. To try to persuade someone to leave their job and go to work for another company. He was headhunted by a large electronics company. Leave. A period of time away from your job or the armed forces. Tony, who had been granted leave, was home for several weeks. Marketing. The ways in which a company encourages people to buy its products by deciding on price, type of customer, and advertising policy. Jim, come and meet the firm's new director of marketing. Multinational. A large company that has offices, shops, or factories in several countries. My uncle works for a large multinational. Multinational. A multinational company or business has offices, shops or factories in several countries. My uncle works for a large multinational corporation. Private sector. All the businesses, industries, and services that are not owned or managed by the government. There is less job security in the private sector. Promotion. A move to a higher level in a company, institution, or sport. We try to fill our executive positions by promotion from within. Promotion. The activity of encouraging or supporting something. The campaign is concerned with the promotion of health. Promotion. The process of attracting people's attention to a product or event, for example, by advertising. The government's planning to introduce a ban on the promotion of tobacco products. Prospects. The possibility that something will happen, especially something good. The prospects for employment in the technology sector are especially good right now. Public sector. The industries and services, for example, schools and hospitals, that are supported by tax money and controlled by the government of a country. The typical member of parliament has worked elsewhere in the public sector. Recruit. A new member of a military force or an organization, especially someone who has recently joined. She's responsible for training new recruits. Recruit. To get someone to work in a company or join an organization. We won't be recruiting again until next year. Recruit. To get someone to help you do something. The club has recruited volunteers to help. Redundant. If someone is redundant, they have been told they must leave their job because they are no longer needed. 5,000 miners were made redundant when the tin market collapsed. Sack. To tell someone they can no longer work at their job. He was sacked after repeatedly arriving late at work. Strike. A period of time during which people refuse to work, as a protest about pay or conditions of work. A strike by transport workers was held on August 12. Strike. To refuse to work for a period of time as a protest about your pay or conditions of work. Pilots were striking for a 6% salary increase. Union. An organization that represents the workers in a particular industry and tries to improve pay, conditions, etc. We encourage all employees to join a union.